Hey, what's up everybody? In this video we're going to talk about removing asbestos. Today is the day where the project was starting and it is February and we're talking about 7 months, right? 6 months. What was going on? We're at this stage of the work. They used this scaffolding to get up and they've blocked it off with this railing right here. But our garage is almost 6 meters by 6 meters, and our neighbor's garage right here, they intend to do some extra work. Last August, I mentioned in past videos that last August we had a problem with our roof. There was a big tornado that hit our town, and I mean, it's not like it destroyed everything. It just tore off the shingles of the roof. And last August we weren't in town. Not just ours, basically everybody that is in our neighborhood had problems with shingles. Well, those big clay shingles, they went flying everywhere. Our house actually, our garage actually still had an asbestos product on it, and it's actually very, very common in Italy. We had planned on fixing it or replacing it, but it's not required unless it breaks. So now it's broken and we're required to fix it. So it cracked it open, and so what that does is I can't just go up and I can't just take it off myself and throw it in the dump. I have to get everybody involved. Like, there's the Association of Health, it's called the ASL, and I don't remember exactly what that stands for. I'll put it down here, but it's basically the people that control the labor laws of kind of like OSHA standards in the US, and so the occupational health standards. Asbestos is a problem, and maybe it's not such a problem for most of the US anymore, but it used to be inside different materials back in the 70s. Well, a lot of these neighborhoods have not been updated since that same period, but the way you'll find asbestos is most commonly inside their roofing material. We didn't have like the ceramic tiles like everyone else. We had this amianto product. It's called amianto in Italian. We had this asbestos product, and you can see up there's a product. Those are the new ones, so they're not made with asbestos. But the ones covered in asbestos were first they painted it with this chemical product before removing it, so it would like adhere and keep it from flaking and becoming dust in the air. And then they had masks and everything on, whole full body suits, and they brought it down this direction and they loaded it and bundled it up so that they can take it to a special disposal area. So this is the process they go through for removing this asbestos roof material. The process itself is pretty straightforward. You cover it with this chemical, you take it down and bundle it up and take it to a disposal area that's dedicated for this purpose. Where the complication lies is all the documentation, because you have to involve the ASL and you have to involve specialists that can do this type of work. And so if you have a project, if you're going to be buying something here in Italy and you have this asbestos product, now you don't have to get rid of it immediately most times, but it would be smart to get rid of that because it is cancerous. They've done a lot of testing. Everyone knows what asbestos does, and you will see it around your neighborhood anyway, especially in the smaller towns. There will be numerous houses or garages usually that still have this asbestos product on top of them. I can walk just down the street and see like 5. So it's not like we're removing the main issue. I mean, each property owner has to do it at their own willingness. Whole story fast. We made a request with this company. Our neighbor helped us because he does construction and he organized it for him and for us. Then this company's certificate had expired like in July and they didn't realize it. So we had to wait for them to fix that whole situation. And then halfway through, basically right at the moment where they were about to approve it, this company just disappeared and they stopped talking to us. They stopped answering their phone. And we were forced into finding a new one. Well, our neighbor found a new one without really being able to contact the first one, and so there was 2 requests to the ASL, and it caused some trouble. Not big trouble, but they couldn't go ahead because there was one contract already open on the same project. So we had to recontact the first people and ask them to cancel theirs so that we could start the second one. And time goes by, 6 months later, and today is the day where what happens is you're supposed to, there's like this security safety plan, right? An architect or an engineer is supposed to design a safety plan for getting up on the roof, and it has to be done to very specific standards. And so far, all the projects I've ever seen, no one's ever done it correctly. Those big projects you see in the big cities, they for sure have to do it correctly. But these country life, small projects, some people just totally ignore the need for the ASL. And so the ASL will show up with the company that's about to do the work in the morning, and they will do an inspection to make sure it's all good. Well, what happened today, they didn't show up, and the ASL didn't show up. The contractors were ready to go, and they called and said, "Where's the inspectors? We're here, waiting an hour and a half. No one's coming." The office said, "Go ahead and go for it, and they'll show up when they show up." And so I was working from the home, and these inspectors showed up finally. It was about 2.5 hours after their scheduled appointed time. And when they come, they check all these very meticulous things, mostly about accessing the roof. And to me, to most people, it's just like grab a ladder, get on the roof, but to them it's a lot more systematic. And if it's not done to a perfect standard, like OSHA obviously has those similar standards, then you are blocked in your work until the next request. They have fear of this cancerous material, right? The roof. This is what all this extra caution is about. But in the end, they could show up and block the entire job and just leave the asbestos product there for months. There was this small possibility that the region was going to cover the costs, calling it a natural disaster. And so we submitted all the documents and stuff, and then we were supposed to be able to get a reimbursement, but basically the region of Lombardy decided it wasn't going to happen, or they weren't going to. It wasn't serious enough. I mean, there's earthquakes everywhere. Our 5 pieces of tile roof weren't so important. Live and learn. Unfortunately, I lost all the videos I made of the progress of each stage, and so all I can really show you is the finished product. It feels good to have the asbestos gone. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to make some comments, and I'll see you next time.